Showing items 1 to 6 of 6. Showing items 1 to 2 of 2.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulihi al-Kareem. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira wa ba'd. We continue with our class in ummdatul-akham by Al-Imam Abdul Ghani Al-Maqdisi rahimahullah. We're in the book of marriage. The book of marriage. And the Shaykh is talking about the reasons for marriage. The reasons for marriage. Asbab al-zawaj. Then after that the Shaykh will talk about fa'idatu fi zawaj, some of the benefits of the marriage. But before we go on, I need to make a correction. The first class we had, I translated the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the beginning, the mu'allif, meaning the author, when he brought the verses to show that az-zawaj, it means aqd in the Quran. Zawaj or aqd, that word zawaj sometimes or aqd here, zawaj means aqd. The word zawaj, we normally say marriage, but it also at times carries the meaning the physical contract and not the actual the word nikah, the word nikah, not zawaj, the word nikah. The Sheikh was making the point that the word nikah comes in the Quran and the Sunnah with two meanings. One meaning, the literal relation between the husband and the wife, the sexual intercourse. And the word nikah also means aqd, the contract between the two spouses. So in the beginning, the Shaykh was bringing his evidence for that, and he said, like the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, said, wankihu ayma minkum, and marry the ayma minkum. I translated ayma is orphans. That was a mistake. Ayma means like the one that you possess out of taking someone captive because of fighting, war, or just taking someone as bandits, take people off the road. So if they were fighting, those people became victorious over the opponent, then those people from the women became ayma, meaning they are their possession. Like Allah said, ma malakat aymanukum, that which your right hands possess, meaning that which you possess in the halal way, meaning out of fighting and winning. So here on Tabarak wa Ta'ala, he said, wankihu ayma minkum, and marry the right hand possess that you have from amongst you. And the Sheikh mentioned, because this is purer, I need to marry them, although a person can have relations with them without the marriage now, and that they should be treated properly and given proper food, clothing. They eat what you eat, they drink what you drink, they live like you live. The same thing for the abid, the male that they conquer in fighting. They make him a slave. Then that same principle, he eats, he drinks, he's clothed like they would eat and drink and clothe themselves. So Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, wanku ayma minkum, and marry the right hand captives from amongst you. This was a mistake when I said marry the orphans from amongst you. The Sheikh, he goes on, like he said, from the last dars, the last lesson, and he mentions the reasons for marriage. The Sheikh had mentioned, in order that the spouses can have a way to work together and to be partners during the life, or be partners in the life. It said, La bot min sharika fil hayati. Everyone has to work together. There's no such thing as a life where one person just exists and that's it. You have to have partnership. It takes more than one person to make the world function. So likewise, the life is like that for the single person. And the way to have that interaction is the nikah, meaning the marriage contract. And the Sheikh, he mentioned that they yushariku fi afrah wal surur, yani with the joy and the happy occasions, you share in that and during the marriage. This is one of the ways that you fulfill the happiness and the enjoyment between you is the marriage contract. The Sheikh also mentioned that إذا قدر الله سبحانه وتعالى تقصد بين الزوجين يعني ماذا الرحمة والمودة عظيمة. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, He will put between two people a great mercy and compassion between them and a very strong bond. That which, if the people try to gather that bond outside of the religion or outside of marriage, they will never be able to accomplish that. Except that people were together for a long, long period of time. But from the mercy of Allah and from the signs that marriage is from the mercy and from His signs that all things are possible and the power of Allah is great, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it where the marriage itself brings about mercy and love between the spouses, where normally you have to have a long interaction and be with people for a long time to get to that point. This can be achieved in a short period of time because of the greatness and the blessing of the marriage itself. And this meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mighty sublime, He Himself alludes to that when He says in His noble book, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ آيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. لقوم يتفكرون إن في ذلك آيات لقوم يتفكرون. وتبارك وتعالى said ومن آياته, and from the signs of Allah, the signs of Allah, the portents of Allah, the things that let you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala huwa mawjood, that He does exist, وهو الذي خلقنا, that He created us, وهو الذي وَرَزَقَنَا, and He is the one who gives us that which we need. So there are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and from amongst His signs, and خَلَقَ لَكُمْ, and He created for you, meaning the human being, for the man, for the male, مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ, from your own selves. And the Prophet he mentioned, مَاذَا النِّسَاء ماذا شقيق الرجال كما قال, that women, they are the brothers, they are the counterpart brothers of the men. So that They are very similar, the male and female, to the point that the Prophet called them the brothers of men. The women are the brothers of men. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He mentioned min anfusikum azwajan, created from you mates. He didn't create mates for you from animals. He didn't create mates for you from the jinn. He didn't create mates for you from the angels. He created mates for you from your own self. Min jinsin wahid, from the same species, so that you may relate, so that you may be able to associate, and that you may be able to live together, as Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said. Azwajan, mates, male and female. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, that you may dwell with her. إِلَيْهَا مَعَهَا. Now you live with her. You will dwell in the same dwelling with her. You will eat and drink and sleep, and as the Shaykh mentioned prior, and they share joy and good times and go through tribulations with her. Proof and point that there's no such thing as a marriage. You live one place, they live another place, except that these are exceptions. But the regular life of marriage is that you live together. You live together. And then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, and He has made between you that which is مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, that which is love and mercy.
Swipe with 2 fingers to unlock the screen. Screen off. Ringer silent. 11:34 a.m. Screen off. Ringer silent. 11:34 a.m. Selected. Notification panel. Device unlocked. Seat control 50%. Seat control 50%. Talkback has been turned on. Tap to go to accessibility settings. TripAdvisor, hotels, Bluetooth is off. 11:35 a.m. Wednesday, August 17th. Spreaker Studio.
So the Sheikh he mentioned the verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Allah tabarak wa ta'ala mentioned the signs and those from the reasons of marriage, that you live together as Allah created the mate from the same species as that mate, the human being. And Allah tabarak wa ta'ala has placed between you, Allah himself has placed the mawaddatun wa rahmah, the love, compassion, the mercy. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna fi dhalika ayati liqawmin yatafakkarun. Verily is a sign of Allah's might, His truth, and His mercy to you, and His gifts, His bounty, for those who yatafakkarun. They sit and they ponder upon the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From amongst the reasons of marriage, the Shaykh mentioned that which the mates they work together with concerning the daily living and the household affairs. Min qiyam bayt wa usra, as it relates to the establishment of a household and a family. This cannot be done without marriage, except that that family is not in accordance with what Allah wants and has decreed for His servants. And the same thing with a household. You want the blessings, you want the mercy and the household. You want the devil, the Satan, the shaitan of the household. So thus, the marriage contract, a legal binding thing that allows you to interact and build a family and work together in the household affairs, is the nikah, the aqd, in this case, meaning the marriage agreement. And this is the thing that it in itself helps establish the marriage, the establishment of a household, the establishment of a family. This is that which constitutes establishing a marriage. And so for the man, the Shaykh says, the man he is the one that he goes out and he earns. ويكسب وينفق على زوجه. He goes out, he earns, and then after he earns, he does not hoard or keep himself like someone who's bakhil, stingy, but rather he spends. ينفق على زوجه. He spends on his wife. he spends on his wife, and if Allah blesses him with children and his children. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned many references for this in the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ has mentioned many references for this in the Sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ. As Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, رِجَالًا قَوْمُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ بِمَا فَضَّلَ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ بِمَا أَنْفِقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. And that Allah has placed the man in a degree over the woman. He is a degree in leadership and authority and responsible with responsibilities over the woman, and not that she's a slave or a child, but Allah has placed him a degree above the woman in strength and in intellect and in the role of earning and taking care of and being responsible for that which is the taking care of the woman in all ways. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, because he spends out of that which he has earned. And the Prophet he mentioned, and when you feed yourself, you feed her, and when you clothe yourself, you clothe her, and you provide shelter for her. So this is the part of the bargain, the part of the contract for the man, that if he keeps it up, then if she keeps up her bargain, then the marriage will run smoothly. As for the lady, the Shaykh, he says, وَتَرَبَّ الْمِنْزِلِ. Naam, she is to تَدَبِّرُ minzi. She is to prepare and think and to figure out the things as it relates to minzili. Minzili means the house, the dwelling. وتربى يعني ماذا وتربى الأولاد, and she is to rear the children in the house, take care of them, raise them up. وتربى الأطفال, the children from a small age, she's with them and to teach them the etiquettes. And we mentioned that there's a difference of opinion between the scholars about this issue. It's a controversial issue. And that is, does the lady have to take care of the house? Or does she have to take care of the house and the children? وَتَكِيمْ بِشُعُونِهِمْ, and to take care of their affairs, that which relates to the children, as it relates to taking them to the doctor and washing their clothes and fixing them food and tidying the house and attending to them when they're sick and so forth. Is all of this something that the woman has to do, or is it a thing that the man is responsible for? He must provide a maid, he must hire people to do this. The lady, she doesn't do anything in this regard. Some of them have mentioned a narration where a man, he went to complain to Umar ibn al-Khattab during his leadership about the mannerisms and behaviors of his wife. He went to complain to the leader of the Muslims, the one in charge, the Khalifa, Umar ibn al-Khattabi. And when he arrived, knocking at the door, he heard Umar's wife, if you will, yelling and arguing and acting in a way that one would say this is inappropriate for a wife to act towards the husband. He said, so when he heard this, the commotion from the wife in the house to Umar, he felt embarrassed. He said, then who am I to go and want to complain about my wife? This is the leader of the Muslims and he has to deal with this. So he walked away, and then Umar came to see who's knocking and called him back. And he asked him, why are you knocking? Then you decide to leave. And then he told Umar if this is what you, the one who was the leader of the Muslims, the one of piety and righteousness, have to deal with and be patient, then how much more should I deal with and be patient? Many people try to use that narration to say that the woman does not have to perform the duties in the house and to do the rearing of the children, washing the clothes, because it is said that Omar said to the man, verily she carried my children and she delivered them and she feeds them and washes the clothes and does these things of a charity. So thus I am patient with her. So many people deduce from that it's not an obligation upon the lady. And some scholars have said this narration cannot be confirmed that it's authentic, that Umar actually said this. But if he said it, then you have others that have brought the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ul an ra'iyatihi." All of you are a shepherd, and every shepherd will be questioned about his flock. All of you are in charge of something, and each one of you will be questioned about your responsibility of the charge. And that hadith, which in the Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Wal mar'atu ra'iya wa hiya mas'ul fi bayti zawjiha." And the lady is responsible in the house of her husband, and she will be questioned. And one of them said, the one wording said, "Ala bayti zawjiha wa awladi, ala bayti zawjiha wa awladi fi ghaybihi," aw kama qala, or with this meaning, his house and his children in his absence. Some of them, understand from that word of the hadith, he said, alayhi salam, she is responsible for the house of her husband and his house and children in his absence. Meaning when he's there, he's the head, one in charge, but she still has a responsibility in that house. So we understand also from the hadith of Fatima bint al-Nabi sallam, when she complained to the Prophet sallam about pulling the water that she used to carry for the house with ropes, and that the ropes hurt her arms and dug into her skin and like this. So she asked Prophet sallam, "Can you get me a servant to do this job?" And the Prophet said, "Ala adulliki ala khayrin min dhalik." When I direct you to something that's better than the servant. Okay, my call, or to this effect. And she said, "Certainly." And the Prophet said, "When you return or you surrender to your bed at night, then say Subhanallah 33 times, Alhamdulillah 33 times, Wa la ilaha illallah 33 times, Wallahu Akbar 34 times," or like this. And wallahi, some of the ulama, they use this and they show that the dhikr of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, the remembrance of Allah azza wa jal, is the thing that gives you strength. It will give you and fortify you and enable you to keep going, to be a person that can execute the task even though it may be difficult. And we understand this from the month of Ramadan, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants his servant the power from, we know not, the ability from his mercy and his blessings to fast on a little bit of sleep, a little bit of food, a little bit of water. And we were constantly in the remembrance of Allah Ta'ala during that month. Therefore, the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, the remembrance of Allah, is that which gives strength to the soul, give that which the body does not feel from the fatigue. Now, the Shaykh said, therefore, with these things you are able to establish the household, and that the lady, because of what she has of responsibility, it is a great responsibility, and it should not be belittled or made light of her responsibility in comparison to what someone has to do outside the house. Many times the man thinks that his job is the greatest and the most difficult because it's outside and the inclement weather and the cold and the hot and dealing with people. But the job of the lady, a'zam min hadha, it's very, very great, and it is definitely more tremendous for the lady, this job, this task, than the man. And that what she does in the house from her servants is a great contribution, so much so it enables the man to do his part outside of the house. And many of the scholars, the Sheikh mentioned, that they have made, scholars of the past, have made clear the man that tries to take the woman from that role, try to remove her from that which Allah intends for her, pushing her outside the house rather than in the place that Allah naturally designed for her. Then this changes the flow of the marriage. It changes the dimensions of the role, and it diminishes the respect and the stability of the marriage, as each person's role has been designed by Allah based upon their nature. So if you push the lady out of the house, when the nature of the lady is not to be out of the house working in the field and with the man and doing these different things and neglecting the duties of the house and the children and the welfare that makes the marriage function in its best and most proper way, then this makes an imbalance in their relationship. And it makes the people dalal ba'idin, makes them go far astray. And we see that in all of the societies where the lady has been taken out of the house and pushed out into the society, and people say this is old-fashioned or this is chauvinistic, that ladies can be equal to men, and why can't they work, and they shouldn't have to stay in the house, and this is oppression, and on and on and on. But in most societies where the people are functioning, the children have morals, the fornication, adultery rate was very low. When the women began to be pushed out into society, then you started to see the role change. The houses became, meaning the family, when we say the houses became destroyed, and thus the ladies, little by little, lose their haya, their shyness and modesty and the good moral character, and then the adultery and fornication rate became very high. And this is the reason for the destruction of the family, the lady being outside the house, the lady working outside the house, the lady leaving the role of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the one who's Al-Alim, the one who's Al-Alim, Al-Hakim, the one who is all wise and knowing and has all of the knowledge, has designed for the lady. And for the man, it is for him, we said again, to provide the things that the lady needs and to live with her in a good way, which is the statement of Tabarak wa Ta'ashahuna bil ma'ruf. And ma'ruf, the ulama, they said, al-urf, yani min al-khayrat, al-urf, yani yutabru khayrat fi shara'. That thing that is known between the people, the customary ways, that's of good from the religion of Allah Ta'ala. That which Allah has given of good ways in the religion, this is what's called ma'ruf. Now, the known good things from the religion in dealing with the lady and dealing in the house. Allah Ta'ala says, now, live with them and all of the good known ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. When you kun tayyib al-nafs, and that he has a good disposition about himself, that his facial expression, the things that he says, his body language, is tayyib al-nafs, and he has a person that's dorsal with his wife, calm and easygoing, pleasant, not ghalith والقبيح والشديد والطغيان وكفرة, being hard and ungrateful and mean and rough, and not like this. This is the opposite when we talk about how it should be with your wife. وأن يحسن معيشة معها, and that he lives with her in the best of ways. نعم. وحسن الصحبة, and that he's with her in the best way. حسن الصحبة means companionship, and this shows that the marriage relationship is not just laying down and fulfilling the desires and where's my food and iron my shirt. No, not like this, but that the suhbah, and suhbah means that you have a close relationship where the respect is mutual, the love is mutual, the concern is mutual. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه ويشمل هنا بين الزوجين المعاملات بين الزوجين. He said, none of you truly believe until he wants for his brother what he wants for himself. And this also applies to spouses, that you want good for your brother and your sister. So therefore you have to treat them, as Prophet has mentioned, in a good way. And likewise, the Shaykh, he reiterates that for the lady, she has to take care of the affairs of the house, make sure he has what he needs, and he serve him. And the women, they hear this, they think like, I'm not no slave. No, not serve like that. He provides service for him as he's outside of the house, he's working, he's tired, and he pour his drink, and tell him the drink is on the table. Pour his drink, and take his shoes, take his hat, khidmah. And likewise from the tayyib al-ishr, from living with her in a good way. If her feet hurt, you rub her feet, you massage her back. If she's sore, shake her, tend to her, give her soup. Like this, barakallahu fikum. And that she guards, and acts in the best way concerning his house, his honor and his wealth. That she doesn't just misappropriate or misuse the house or the money in his absence, nor his honor. And he badmouth him, talk bad about him, disgrace him behind his back. Take the money and use it when he leaves in a way that if he was there, she wouldn't use it. And he abuse the house, have people in the house that he disapproves of, or that if he knew, he would be upset. The opposite of that is for the role of the lady. And that she meets him with the تقبله بشاشة, and that she greets him with a happy face. That she greets him with that which is smiles and nice disposition. Not that she answers the door frowning or looking in a bad way. No, to be kept nicely and to be presentable and to be in a delightful way when she looked to him or when he looks to her. And likewise, as I point, the brother is the same way. That the brother, he groom himself, smell good, look good. That he smiles, not looking rough and tough like someone biting on nails with the wife, but with the brothers he's smiling all the time, being pleasant. Being with the wife like someone in the military boot camp, but with the brothers he's very lenient. No. To be easy, to be smiling, to be plain, to be any like this with the wife. And the Shaykh, he says, and it is not proper for the man to bring upon himself evil, because the house is a source of his sa'ada. Meaning if there's commotion and mayhem, bad character, bad statements and bad treatment of the wife in the house, then the house is going to be the opposite of sa'ada. House is not going to be a source of happiness, rather it's going to be a source of misery, and this is the opposite of the reasons for marriage. So the Shaykh reiterates, so if each one of the spouses holds to their responsibilities and the commitments in the marriage, then they will have a happy marriage and a happy life. And thus they will be able to raise children in a healthy and a good environment. The Shaykh also mentioned from amongst the benefits of the marriage, يعني دفع مفاسد الجسم دفع مفاسد الجسيم. That the marriage pushes away all of the sicknesses that people inherit from illegal intercourse. Look how many people historically have more than one wife from the different nations and people and countries, from the Africans, from the Arabs, from the Indians, even from some of the European countries, past and present, have more than one wife. You don't find, the family sick with all of these diseases and passing around. But typically, you find this with the people having unmarital sex. That Allah Ta'ala has given them this as a test, as a thing that goes with illegal intercourse. So thus the marriage is a way to repel that, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the marriage fruitful and blessed. The Shaykh goes on and says, from the fawaid of zawaj, fawaid yani mad nikah, from among some of the benefits, is that the marriage is definitely a thing that gives stability, and it gives that which is companionship, and it provides a source of relationship between the one who fulfills their rights and their responsibilities to one another. It provides and serves as a means of a functioning household. He said, well, at the same time, the marriage being something that is in that category where it provides these different things, and also has its rules and regulations and its boundaries. Rules and regulations and its boundaries. The Shaykh, he mentions first hadith. The Prophet ﷺ also mentioned that the marriage, yani nisfuddin, naam nisfuddin, it is half of a person's his life. If he is married, it becomes half of his way as a married person, because half of the life the Prophet ﷺ is mentioning, the great portion here of the life is tied to marriage. A great portion of the life of a person is tied to marriage. Now, and the Prophet ﷺ said, فَمَنْ اسْتَبْرَ دِينَهُ فَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ مَاذَا فَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ فِي مَاذَا الْجُزْءُ الْآخَرُ كَمَا قَالَ. And the marriage is half of a person's deen. And if Allah blesses that person with the deen, meaning blesses him in marriage, let him fear Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, and the other half, meaning the wife has a half to uphold and you have a half to uphold. It's not the wife has 80 and you have 20, or you have 60 and she has 40. Each person has their share in the marriage, and if you have that, then you fear Allah tabarak wa ta'ala and the other half of the marriage. To keep your duty to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you in the other half. So one half is the worldly life and the everyday things, and the other half is the fear of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, treating and keeping each other in line with the rules and regulations of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. We'll take the first hadith in the book of marriage, and then inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala will start. The Shaykh, he said, hadith al-awwal, an Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا معشر الشباب من استطاع منكم الألباء فليتزوج فإنه أقرب للبصر وأحسن للفرج فمن لم يستطيع فعليه بالصوم فإنه وجاء The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned من لم يستطيع فعليه بالصوم فإنه له وجاه The Shaykh, he says, Al-Gharib, Ma'ashar al-shabab, the terms that they are not common terms, meaning the words are used and phrases are used in a different way than the apparent meaning. So this is called Gharib al-Hadith or Gharib al-Ma'na. So the Shaykh says Ma'ashar al-shabab. It says al-Ma'ashar, they are ta'ifatul yani nas, ta'ifatul nas. The Prophet used to describe a group of people. Ma'ashar means to describe a group of people. Al-Ba'a, the Shaykh says, Al-Ma'na yani minzil, al-minzil, and the house, the living quarters. So this is one of the things when the Prophet ﷺ mentioned about marriage. Clearly in this hadith, you have to be able to provide al-ba'a, ay sakana laha, a place for her to live. You can't just marry the lady, have your fun, and she go home, you go home, or meet at the hotel sometime and do your thing and go. No, you have to be able to provide a place in order to live with her, as Allah mentioned the ayah, to dwell with her. The Prophet said the one who is not able to do that, the one who is not able to do that, he has to fast. And the statement فَإِنَّهُ لَهُ وِجَاء, the rich Prophet described as wujah because وَلَدِي يعني تذهب عن شهوات البشر, is that cuts off the sexual desires, leaving off food and drink, as food and drink gives the person the power and ability to have the relationship. We'll stop here inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala until next time. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa huwa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayh.
Alert device options. Showing items 1 to 4 of 4. Power off. Spreaker Studio. OK button.